Hi, I'm Jakira Black, and otherwise known as Jackie, and this is the second half of my book haul for recharging my literary batteries after doing National Novel Writing Month in November. So first up, I want to talk about, I'll talk about that later. This is the first book. It's a library book, Bruised by Siobhan Parkinson. It's about a 14-year-old boy who lives with his alcoholic mother and his little sister, and the mother hits the little sister and they run away. I would tell you more because I've actually read it, but then I would be giving you spoilers, so maybe you should get it and read it yourself, and then there'll be no spoilers. Next up is another library book, Nerve by Jian Ryan. Obviously this is a film that's out and I've not seen it, and I really do want to see it, but books are always better, so I'm going to be reading this first. And basically it's you're either playing the game or you're watching the game, and the main character chooses to play the game and has lots of challenges, some criminal, I think, some very, very dangerous, some embarrassing, so yeah, that will be good. And next up is a book by my friend Glenys Stott, Dreaming of America, A Journey of Betrayal. It's based on a true story on one of her ancestors, I think probably a great-grandmother maybe, or great-aunt or something. Sorry Glenys, I can't remember. But get this book because it will get Glenys happy, and Glenys is cool. So get this book. It's Glenys Stott, Dreaming of America. Get it. You want to get it. That's later. From there later. Just sort of moving my hand around. Okay, this is called The Wander by Emma Donoghue. It's about a girl who has, I think it's historical, that this girl hasn't eaten for months, but she's thriving. And why is she thriving? Is it a miracle? So yeah, it sounds a really good book, but yeah, I'm looking forward to reading this. I don't know if it'll be in December because obviously I've got loads of books to read, so we'll see. Next up is Chasing the Stars by Mallory Blackman. This is about twins that are coming back to Earth after a virus, and a boy called Nathan who is leaving Earth, and they meet, Nathan and the girl twin meet on a spaceship, and I think it's probably a romance set in space, so science fiction romance. What's not to love? So yeah, I'm going to be reading this. I've actually had it since June, so I really need to read it because, but I've been having a bit of a book slump, so I will be reading this as soon as possible. Next up is Three Sisters, Three Queens by Philippa Gregory. Philippa Gregory writes excellent books, very historically based and researched. I have read quite a few of her books, like The Constant Princess in the past. This, I think, is based on Catherine of Aragon, Princess Margaret, who was Henry VIII's sister, and possibly Mary Queen of Scots. I'm looking forward to this because, I love reading historical books, but when they're actually accurate a lot, it's about learning about history, because I do like learning about history and about what has happened in the past. So yeah, I am looking forward to that because it's not just about entertaining myself or recharging my literary batteries, but it's about improving my mind and improving my knowledge. So yeah, that will be a good one. Okay, next it's The Core by Peter O'Guilan. This is a story about all the children and the young adults in the world receive the core and they disappear, and when they come back a few minutes later they're mostly dead, but some have survived, and I assume it's about one of them going wherever they go and facing the challenges that they're going to face. I've been wanting to read this since I heard about it in August. It came out in September. This is the first chance I've been able to get it and to be reading lots, because obviously I've had NaNoWriMo to do. Next up is my last library book I've got it's called Railhead by Philip Reeves. Philip Reeves is the author behind Mortal Engines, which I do recommend. This is about a boy called Zen who is a petty thief, but is also the key to the universe, and it rests on finding out what he is. Next up is 3 books by Philippa Gregory: Changeling, Stormbringers and Fool's Gold. I don't think these are necessarily historically accurate. I'm sure they'll be really, really good still. Like I said, she does write historically accurate, so there will be a lot of accurate stuff in it. It's just that I don't think that they're actually based on people that really existed. But they could be, for all I know. I'm looking forward to reading these. So yeah. Oh. Okay, so next up is Spooks, The Dark Army by Joseph Delaney. I mentioned in my first book called reading Arena 13. This is the Spooks, the second Spook series, the second book of the second Spook series. Do go and read the Spook series, they are really, really good. This is about Tom and him fighting in the dark. He's a spook, so he fights the dark, fights witches and boggarts and traps them in graves and upside down, and yeah, and he's the 7th son of a 7th son. And yeah, you need to read. We don't need to read them, but yeah, I do recommend Joseph Delaney's books. Like I said in the other video, I have met him, and he used to teach at Blackpool Sixth Form. So if you're in Blackpool, then you've got to read his books because he's from our town. Okay. So next up is a book that I've actually started reading, and if you look at my bookmark, it's a very, very classy bookmark. It's a bus ticket. It's Salem the Slot by Stephen King. I don't think I probably need to introduce this. I watched the film in the 80s, really, really freaked myself out. Couldn't sleep without the light on for a long, long time. Hopefully it won't freak me out so much now, because I don't get freaked out quite so much as I did back when I was young, really young, not young. But yeah, I've started reading this because obviously Stephen King is a master of writing, and I wanted to read this because I wanted to read it because it's vampires and it's like Salem's Lot, and yes, it really freaked me out, and the film probably would freak me out now, but hopefully the book itself won't freak me out so much. It probably will. Okay, so I've got 2 books left, and I will do them together. And they're actually, I'm doing a creative writing masters with Open University at the moment. I've completed the first block, and I've now gone to the second block. What we've got is we've got primary genres, and then we've got secondary genres. For my primary is fiction, which I'll be going back to for block 3 and block 4. But for block 2, I'm doing my secondary genre, which is creative non-fiction. So I've got these 2 books. I've got which are different, because I did wonder if I'd bought the same book but in different guises. I've got the Arvin Book of Literary Non-Fiction. So obviously that will hopefully help to some degree. Obviously it's literary, not creative, but we'll see. And then I've got Life Writing, A Writer's and Artist's Companion. So I'm going to be reading that too. Yeah. So that's my book haul, my second part of my book haul. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've got some ideas for books that you could read. If you've got any suggestions, obviously you've got a bit of an idea of the sort of books I like now. So if you've got any suggestions, put it in the comments of books that you've loved to read and that you think I should read. I have read a lot of books. So there's a good chance if it's not a brand new book that I possibly might have read it. But then again, there's so many books out there that I probably haven't. And I'm always on the lookout for new books that I've not read any of the series of, or individual books that I've not read any of. So yeah, put in the comments so I know about them and others know about them. And subscribe, please, please, please subscribe. I'm going to be doing more videos. I'm going to be doing writing tip videos. I'm going to record myself reading some short stories that I've wrote. So yeah, okay.